What was your point of view kind of prior to this breaking out?
Yeah, I think we've looked at the large cap tech stocks as kind of a deal now. Most of them, Nvidia in particular, the one trading sideways for 6 months. You go back 6 months, it was 38 times forward earnings. Now it's a market multiple, 20 times, 21 times, trading, earnings growing 60% plus. We think that there's opportunity there. This is the kind of gut check you get occasionally, and you've got a war in this particular instance to exacerbate concerns around the AI slowdown trade. It's a good opportunity.
So now we'll call it the Iran war or whatever. This has now increased your conviction in buying basically the Mag 7 Nvidia especially.
The tech winners in the AI chain, Nvidia is one, Palantir and Software is another. There's a handful of these stocks that should continue to beat expectations, force people to realize what they're really looking at longer term. Versus this short-term shock of what the war is doing with consumer sentiment, with the price of oil, and all the pieces that have been negatively affected.
Do you think it's just a coincidence that software bounced back as this was all happening?
Software was really oversold, so I don't think anything was drastically different there. You've got some long-term franchises there that are not going to zero because of AI, and I think there's some longer-term buyers stepping in.
As a tech investor, largely, what would you say to those who are trying to figure out what to do with the space? It's hard to get a lot of clarity on what's going on with some of the private portfolios, but you have to imagine the publicly traded names are maybe some of the better ones of the group. So they've traded down a lot, obviously, but then they've come back a lot in the past 4 weeks.
Exactly. And I think it just tells you what the volatility looks like, which we've been kind of calling since day one this year. You've had 3 good years of equity returns, particularly in large growth, particularly in technology. Now you're seeing this year starting off with some bounces, and that's okay. That's probably pretty normal. I think longer term, though, these are opportunity sets for tech. The Russell 1000 Growth Index that we bench against, at Sylvan Capital, is 50% tech. So you've got to kind of get that right. And these are good opportunities long term.
Jensen, I did want to point out, someone said to me the stock's down 30 cents. Your stock's up 22,000% in the last decade. Should we care about the last half hour?
Well, I guess we all do. Our growth is accelerating at a larger scale. That's surprising for people. And the end markets are really growing. We've reached this point in AI called the inflection of inference. And so we've reached the inference inflection. And so, our growth is accelerating. We would love to see everybody enjoy it.
Well, people got a little trapped by the 500 billion to a trillion, and I like that, over 2025, 2027. What trapped me was that when you said, when we were talking around Michael Dell yesterday, that Jim, do you remember when I told you that ChatGPT could be big? And I said, well, yeah, I do, 10 years ago. And he goes, NemoClaw. He said, NemoClaw, this may be even bigger. I start my morning with NemoClaw. Could you explain to people why this may be what we're thinking about over the next 5 years and not something involving margins over the last 5 minutes?
Well, first of all, I said at the keynote, and I referenced a number I used previously because I want to give everybody a baseline.
We need that.
And so last year I said that about this point that we had $500 billion of high confidence visibility of Blackwell and Rubin. That's it. Obviously our company sells other things.
Right.
We have CPUs, we have storage processors, we have networking, and so we have all kinds of things that we sell in addition to that. We have $500 billion worth of visibility, and at this point, with another 21 more months to go to the end of 2027, we already have high confidence visibility of $1 trillion plus of Blackwell and Rubin. Not anything else, just Blackwell and Rubin. And so, we still have 21 more months of new orders coming in. Right. We still have all of the other things that NVIDIA sells. And so I just wanted to give everybody a baseline. The ecosystem needs to know directionally where NVIDIA is going. Now, of course, we plan with the supply chain. We help everybody with their capacity building. We prepare all the technology partners so that we can support $1 trillion worth of Blackwell and Rubin. And so it's an incredible thing.
You bought Grok in December.
Yeah.
What I heard yesterday, maybe my biggest takeaway, was that it's already going to be making you not money, but a huge amount of money, and that's not part of the trillion.
No. Yeah, we started production of Grok version 3. It's a really, really special company, and And we're going to add Grok, not to every part. Vera Rubin is so incredible that it's really hard to add value to Vera Rubin. You know, that engine is so incredible. And so, but there's some part of the workload, I think about 25% of the workload, where we could add Grok to it. And so for 25% of the workload, we could increase our opportunity even more. And so
people will be paying for this.
Shares rose as CEO Jensen Huang announced that the company is restarting H200 accelerator production for Chinese customers, indicating progress in attempts to resume market shipments. Nvidia received permission to sell its second-best H20 AI chip in China. Then it was not. It is now. However, it may have to pay a 25% duty to the U.S. government, dampening the festivities. Almost a year ago, the Commerce Department halted H20 sales to China. At the same time, China instructed its technology companies to purchase chips manufactured in China. However, there were concerns that those developed and manufactured in China did not compare to Nvidia's CPUs. Throughout the process, Chinese companies gained access to Nvidia's processors through locations such as Singapore. According to the Association of Certified Sanctions Specialists, LLC, recent investigations and parliamentary discussions have revealed a troubling trend. Singaporean traders may be acting as intermediaries, purchasing Nvidia chips under legitimate pretenses and then rerouting them to Chinese entities via third-party distributors, shell companies, and re-export hubs. The issue was originally raised in March. It also indicated that Nvidia chips were available in Malaysian and Indonesian data centers. Early this year, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang stated, or did not state, that the road to China had been barred once again. Yesterday, he said the door was wide open. Huang told guests at an Nvidia event, "We have been licensed for many customers in China. We have received purchase orders from numerous customers and are in the process of restarting operations. Depending on who you believe, China's sales could be worth billions or tens of billions of dollars. But how much will the U.S. government take from this revenue?" Earlier this year, the White House issued a directive. The president also slapped a 25% levy on some powerful computing chips, including the Nvidia H200 and AMD MI325X. President Trump wrote on Truth Social, "I have advised President Xi of China that the United States will enable Nvidia to ship its H200 equipment to approved clients in China and other countries under conditions that ensure continuing strong national security." President Xi has responded positively. The United States of America will receive $25%. Will the president enforce this or not? Selling chips and receiving full price is one thing. Giving the U.S. government 25% is another option. Nvidia has not confirmed whether the issue is real. If that's the case, the new bargain may not be as wonderful as it appears. Nvidia stock has been trapped in neutral for months, trading in a narrow range despite a torrent of positive news. Investors have been cautious due to concerns about stretched valuations, fading AI hype cycles, and worries about long-term momentum. Quarter after quarter, the company has reported record earnings, aggressively expanded its data center footprint, and even identified a possible $1 trillion revenue opportunity in agentic AI systems that might power autonomous agents and next-generation apps. However, the stock scarcely moved. Following prior indications that Nvidia was discreetly exiting China, the high-stakes bet is now back on the table. With new U.S. and Chinese permits in hand, can restarted H200 sales finally provide the catalyst investors seek? Join our investor community. Hit subscribe and like to get your daily Nvidia stock insights and tutorials delivered. An H200 chip production reversal. Just weeks ago, allegations surfaced that Nvidia had secretly ceased manufacture of its H200 AI accelerators, which are Hopper-based processors designed specifically for the Chinese market. Capacity at contract manufacturer Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing was being shifted to the next-generation Vera Rubin platform, fueling speculation that the company had abandoned China because to ongoing regulatory uncertainties. On-again, off-again U.S. export prohibitions and Beijing's own licensing barriers have caused months of standstill, spurring the production change as a pragmatic hedge. This week, the calculus altered substantially. At Nvidia's GTC conference, CEO Jensen Huang announced that the business is restarting H200 manufacture after obtaining both U.S. export permits and Chinese government approvals. Beijing has allowed many customers to acquire the chips, and Nvidia has already received orders. The turnaround is real. Production lines are restarting, potentially resuming shipments that had been halted for nearly a year. China's shrinking role and sudden revival. China was formerly a cornerstone of Nvidia's growth strategy, accounting for up to 20% of total revenue before to the trade war. Massive demand from Chinese IT behemoths and hyperscalers drove data center expansion, allowing Nvidia to dominate the worldwide AI accelerator market. However, rising U.S.-China tensions and subsequent export sanctions effectively closed that conduit. Revenue from the region plummeted, requiring the corporation to shift to compliant, lower-spec chips and focus elsewhere. Earlier rumors of restarted sales have regularly evaporated, producing little more than headlines and brief stock increases. This time feels different. With explicit authorization from multiple Chinese clients and confirmed purchases, analysts see a route to considerable revenue reacceleration. Even small H200 volumes, priced in the tens of thousands per unit, may contribute hundreds of millions in quarterly data center sales, providing a substantial counterweight to any slowing in U.S. or European demand. Restarting H200 sales reopens a profitable channel at a vital point. While Vera Rubin and future architectures remain the long-term growth engines, the immediate revenue boost from H200 may help Nvidia maintain its rapid data center growth pace. It also indicates increased geopolitical flexibility, as both Washington and Beijing appear willing to carve out minor business concessions amid broader tensions. For Nvidia's ecosystem partners, the move restores access to proven, high-performance hardware without the need for next-generation platforms. What was the result? A hypothetical bridge that maintains velocity while Rubin ramps. This Chinese rebound is certainly good for Nvidia's fundamentals. It might convert into real incremental revenue, strengthening an already dominant position in AI infrastructure. However, the key question remains, will it move the stock? History suggests skepticism. Past triggers, including as earnings beating, enormous AI TAM predictions, and even earlier China resumption speculations, have failed to break Nvidia's recent sideways trend. With AI weariness setting in and valuation multiples remaining high, investors may see this as just another data point rather than a dramatic shift. Unless supported by ongoing order flow and margin expansion, shares may stay range-bound while waiting for more evidence that AI demand remains unquenchable. For the time being, the China bet is back on, but the stock may require more than one market to completely break free. While international crises make headlines and cause initial volatility, equities often have a remarkable ability to look ahead and move on. Investors are naturally concerned about the current escalation in the Iran war, which has included U.S. and Israeli strikes, disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, and oil price hikes. However, the S&P 500 has fallen just roughly 3% since the heightened tensions began, a rather subdued reaction compared to previous crises. History demonstrates that markets usually absorb such shocks swiftly, returning within weeks or months if no chronic energy crisis occurs. With oil prices already falling and good seasonal patterns on the horizon, we believe the risk-off phase is just transitory. Following a slow start to the year, technology is poised to seize the lead as fundamentals reassert themselves. Historical precedent points to a bullish outlook. The pattern is well established. Analyses of key post-World War II events demonstrate that, on average, the S&P 500 returned to pre-event levels within 28 days and, in most cases, reported positive gains 1 year later. Geopolitical shocks typically create sharp but brief pullbacks, particularly when the underlying economy remains sturdy. In the current episode, the market's calm is due to multiple stabilizing factors. Diversified global supply chains have restricted the impact of oil disruptions, central banks have signaled policy flexibility, and corporate earnings have proven to be surprisingly resilient. This resiliency reminds us that investors frequently price in worst-case scenarios early on, only to adjust as reality becomes less severe. And there were some positives over the weekend. According to media reports, several tankers successfully transited the Strait of Hormuz, providing a glimmer of hope and pushing oil prices lower. President Trump also asked allies to aid the U.S. in disrupting Iran's blockade of the strait. Looking ahead, multiple factors point to a possible resurgence. Strong seasonality is upon us as markets enter the second half of March, and the S&P 500's performance in April is attractive from a historical standpoint. Tax refunds are approximately 10 to 11% larger than last year, injecting billions of dollars in liquidity, which normally enhances consumer spending and risk appetite over the March-April period. Nvidia best exemplifies this promise, with recent advancements at the GTC 2026 conference highlighting why technology may soon lead the recovery. CEO Jensen Huang's keynote speech yesterday focused on revolutionary advancements that extend Nvidia's leadership in AI infrastructure. Partnerships with OpenClaw, Uber for self-driving cars, and Disney strengthen Nvidia's ecosystem reach, while the new Rubin Ultra architecture and AI factory ambitions indicate significant scalability for enterprise AI deployments. Huang predicted that AI chip sales from these platforms would surpass $1 trillion by 2027, demonstrating confidence in long-term demand across data centers, robots, and edge computing. In reality, we'll be short, Huang added. I believe computing demand will be substantially higher than that. Nvidia also unveiled the Vera Rubin Space Module, a platform intended for orbital data centers, geospatial intelligence, and autonomous space operations. The launch of DLSS-5, a next-generation AI-powered rendering solution for RTX 50 series GPUs, promises lifelike images and considerable performance improvements in gaming and professional applications. These upgrades arrive at an appropriate time. After a slow start to 2026 marked by a shift toward defensives, Nvidia's shares have consolidated but remain well supported by fundamentals. The company's rank number 2, buy, shows favorable earnings estimate revisions and a track record of meeting AI growth projections. The GTC disclosures present new drivers that may revive investor interest. In our experience, periods of geopolitical noise frequently result in brief value resets in high-quality growth stocks such as Nvidia, resets for which patient investors have historically been rewarded. Of course, risks persist. Escalation in the Middle East may put additional strain on energy costs and supply systems, and AI investment must continue to yield concrete returns. However, the overall picture appears positive. Corporate balance sheets are healthy, productivity improvements from AI are beginning to emerge in surveys and early data, and seasonal patterns point to a spring lift. Bottom line, markets rarely move in straight lines, and global events put our willpower to the test. However, based on history and present fundamentals, this Iran-related volatility is most likely just another chapter in a lengthy trend of markets looking past disputes. As we enter the usually favorable March-April period, technology, particularly Nvidia, seems prepared to reclaim the spotlight. In our opinion, the current stop may ultimately serve as the foundation for the next leg of the AI-driven cycle. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.